What's good, Wizards fans? It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, and my guy Brandon Scott. Today we're going to recap the weekend. The Wizards lost to the Heat and the Suns, and Bradley Beal had his first home game back in DC. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So I thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Once again, it's your guy, the real Ed Oliver, my guy Brandon Scott. Recapping the weekend, the Wizards lost to the Heat, 110-102. Then they got blown out by the Suns. First, we're going to talk about the Heat game, recap that, and of course, we're going to talk about a little bit of the Bradley Beal homecoming, just a tad bit. Now, tomorrow, we will be talking about the offer that the Wizards got for Tyus Jones. They did turn that down. Reportedly, it was 4 second-round picks. So we're not going to talk about that today, but we're going to talk about that tomorrow. So definitely comment about that, guys, if you have any takes about that or any trades that you guys have coming up. Any trades you guys want to see, since it's trade week, guys.
Yeah, man.
We're finally coming into what we've been waiting for. Some guys are going to be shipped out. We're going to get some new, fresh faces in here. Hopefully, we can accumulate some picks. But let's get to the Miami Heat game. They lost 110-102. Brandon, what were your thoughts on that, and what went wrong in that game?
Oh, it's simple, E. We lost the battle of the rebounds. We lost 66-49, or got out rebounded 66-49. They got 14 offensive rebounds, which led to 19 second chance points. So again, we allowed their possessions to extend, and they punish us every time. We are bad with giving up offensive rebounds to the team, and again, it got us because it was actually a pretty close game till the third quarter, where we got outscored by 16 points. The third quarter, we lost the lead, and that was it. But up to that point, it was actually a really, really good game. Now, looking at from an individual statistic standpoint, looking at our starting five, obviously, Jordan Poole, starting off with him, 16 points, 10 assists. Now, he did 6 for 21 overall. So efficiency didn't even show up. I mean, it was probably a really inefficient game. Obviously, that's probably the most positive thing I can say about his performance as far as shooting. Shot just went there. Shooting 2 for 3 from free throw. But if you look at another stat, 2 for 14 from 3. Lord have mercy. I mean, 2 for 14 from 3. So he was way too reliant on that 3-point shot. And you would think that you get to a point where you want to lay off the shot. He just kept shooting and kept shooting and kept shooting. So it's kind of just what happened with Jordan Poole. Like I said, 10 assists, I think, is a bright spot. Is this a performance that we can see a lot as far as getting other teammates involved? We'll see. We'll see after the deadline who gets traded, because if Tyus gets traded, we'll be looking at Jordan Poole being the point guard. And 10 assists ain't bad, but obviously the shot efficiency took a big hit. Tyus Jones, we mentioned 6 assists, but only 2 for 7 from the field. Denny had a really good game, 15 points, 8 boards, 6 of 8 for 8 from the field, 3 turnovers and 5 personal fouls. But I felt that he had a really, really, really good showing. Kuzma, underwhelming, 13 points, 4 boards, shooting 5 for 16 and 1 for 5 from 3. And then we get to Daniel Gafford, 11 points, 14 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal. So the starting 5 was not the start of the show. We better get to the start of the show. But looking at Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, the inefficiency hurt, in my opinion. It really hurt this team. I know that they asked interim coach Brian Keefe after the game, was it a case of bad shot selection or just a bad night shooting? And he kind of attributed it to a bad shooting night, because he said they missed a lot of open looks. But I'll say this, man, inefficiency has been an issue all year with these two. Like, this is not a new concept with these two, and very often they're very too reliant on shooting jumpers. And it shows tonight. 2 for 14. Come on now, man. That is unacceptable, in my opinion. 2 for 14. You're not Stephen Curry. I'm trying to be nice, but I mean, 2 for 14. You got to get to a point where it's like, shot ain't dropping. I got to change the game up, man. And, players, we talk about coaching and making adjustments. These players have to make adjustments too. And 2 for 14, Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I believe they shot us out the game. I mean, the inefficiency really hurt this team. But this star of the show, was Corey Kispert. 26 points, shooting 10 for 18 from the field, 6 for 14 from 3. So his 3 was rocking. Corey Kispert led all Wizard scores. He had a good game. He was driving to the lane, dunked on somebody, hitting the 3-point shots. I mean, his release was fast. I mean, he was on the money that night, man. Friday night, Corey Kispert did his thing. So, yeah, I mean, you saw your struggles from the starting 5. Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole both, in my opinion, shot us out the game. But Corey Kispert, he tried, and he really stepped his game up tonight. And then looking at Balow real quick, 25 minutes, but only 5 points, 1 for 4 from the field. So, yeah, this game was lost with inefficient shots and trying to push a shot, in my opinion. And it was almost won by Corey Kispert. You know, to me, he was a bright spot. He played well. He was very active offensively and defensively, which we don't give, in my opinion, we have not given him enough credit for him kind of stepping up defensively this year. I felt like this year he's definitely playing better defense. So, you know, that's what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, there were some bright spots, of course. Unfortunately, another loss, but they were winning for a good amount of the game. That first half, They were winning for majority of the first half. It's just once again that third quarter where they just break down. And Jimmy Butler was getting to the basket. Bam Adebayo had some easy baskets as well. Bam Adebayo ended up with 20 and 14, as we always talk about. The opposing center always ends up with a double against the Wizards. And Jimmy Butler kind of took over down the stretch there, 24 points and 9 boards. You brought up how we got out rebounded. No Bagley, that hurt. Just not having him, only having Gafford as your only center on the roster, a guy that can rebound. So they certainly missed him. They could have used him out there. Neither team shot well from the 3-point line. And we got out rebounded 59-43. We gave up 58 points in the paint to our 48. We didn't even turn the ball over that much. But like I said, I mean, I thought the effort was there. And it was another low-scoring game with the Heat. The Heat games are usually low-scoring games, 110, 102. So only giving up 110 is kind of like a good thing for the Wizards, as you saw with the Suns. They gave up 140 compared to 110. But, yeah, Jordan Poole, man, he's struggling to shoot the ball 2 for 14. He struggled again against the Suns. We'll talk about the Suns game coming up. But, yeah, he's just struggled as of late. Did get 10 assists. But just the efficiency was not there. And then Corey, he put on the show, man. This was a great game from Corey Kispert, just whether it was knocking down threes or getting to the basket, finishing above the rim. I mean, he's really been on a not a heater, but I feel like the last couple of games he's starting to get into a rhythm here with a big game with 26 points. He had 16 the other night against the Clippers. The other games he had a little bit of a not a slump. Because he had 8 points against the Spurs, but he had 16 against the Clippers and then 26 against the Heat, and then 15 today against the Suns. So he's starting to warm up a little bit, heat up. But yeah, I mean, I think some of the guys, they just know the trade down is coming up, and they're ready to move on. And we'll talk about the Suns game once again. Like I said, some guys sat out. I'm not sure if it's because of the trade deadline, but I thought they played. I thought they played with effort against the Heat, but Jordan Poole, once again, he just struggled, and the loss isn't all on him. You know, the Heat are the better team, and they kind of just woke up towards the end and took over towards the end. And Kevin Love had a double as well. So 2 of their bigs, Kevin Love and Bam Adebayo, had a double.
Yeah, I mean, another stat to look at too. Let me pull it up, but again, perimeter. They cooked us on the perimeter. I mean, it's a different game, same script, and like you said, we played well. That first half, man, I felt that this team really played well. But we knew coming into the season, that Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole were going to get more shot attempts than most people. I get that. But, I mean, you get to a point where they shoot us out of games sometimes. And I feel like this was one of those games, man, because if you look at their stat line, I mean, I don't know that when you get to a point where you might want to. And, again, 10 assists, you try to get other people involved. I get that. But still, I mean, you get to a point, 2 for 14 from 3. I'm just saying. And if you look at overall, I mean, 6 for 21 from Poole, 5 for 16 from Kuz, man. Looking at attempts, Kispert got 18 attempts, but after Kispert, man, your highest attempt guy is 8 attempts. Denny Avia, Todd, and then Gafford at 8. So they got to find ways to get other people involved, man. We cannot continue to see them chucking up the ball 20 plus times a game, man. I mean, it's just you got to get to a point where these guys got to slow down, because, I mean, 21 attempts for Poole, 16 for Kuz. So, like I said, we knew they were going to shoot the ball a lot this season, but you just get to a point where the inefficiency hurts, and it hurts because this was a winnable game in my opinion. Because, like you said, that third quarter they lost in the third quarter. They got scored by 16, and that was it. And they got to close out games, man. I mean, we got on West, man, for not making adjustments and them faltering. You got an interim head coach now. West saying that you can't blame them anymore. You get to a point from a player's perspective that they've got to keep their foot on the pedal. And, if your shot's not dropping, you got to find other ways to get other people involved, man. Like, Jordan Poole, I'm not going to be too tough on him because he did have 10 assists. But, Kuzma, man, he's cooled down a lot going towards the deadline. I don't know if the deadline's bothering him or what's going on, but he has been a different player the last 2 to 3 weeks, man. He has not been himself scoring 20-plus, man. So we'll see. But inefficiency has to get better. They chalked it up to just not dropping shots, but look, this has been an M all year, man. So apparently they're missing a whole lot of open looks all year long. So, that's my take, man.
Right. Definitely. All right, we're going to get to the Suns game, to recap that game, and also the Bradley Beal, how fans reacted to Bradley Beal. But before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn constantly is finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hire. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Make sure you guys check out BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest, big or small. Certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who's unbiased on your life. So today I want to say how I really feel about something. You might even be thinking about the same thing this week. Therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports team, and it's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, and then also you guys check out the Locked On Sports Network. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. All right, Brandon, so what were your thoughts on the Suns game here? We see a couple of comments here. Some people are definitely mixed on the cheering and the standing ovation that Bradley Beal got. But first, let's get to what were your thoughts on the game and where it basically went wrong from the first quarter. But what were your thoughts on the Suns game? And Eugene had a good game. So there's there's like one positive you can really take away, and that's really it. And then, of course,
man.
Got to get to Johnny Davis' performance as well.
Oh Lord. let me say this, man. Bradley Beal, welcome back to DC, man. His departure was a rough one. I feel like, I'm a big Bradley Beal fan. I know I gave him a lot of smoke, rightfully so. I never thought that he was the number one option. The way he left was sloppy, but it is what it is, man. Do I think that he should have got cheers? Yeah. He put in a lot of good years here in DC. Him and John Wall, man, they were a really, really good backcourt, playoff teams. He did a lot. Here's the thing, man. Him and John, they both did a lot for the community. So that alone, I think they should get cheers, man. Anytime they step foot on the court as a visitor, man, they should get cheers because they did a lot more than most in DC for the community, and you can never forget about that, man. But getting to the game, look, he had something to prove. He came in, and you could tell there was times where they were feeding him the ball because I think they knew the significance of this game, man. Him being a former Wizard coming back for the first time. I saw KD was forcing the ball a lot. But where the game was lost, simple. They just outshot us. Most categories we were either even or we were actually a better team. Rebounds, we often talk about. We only got out-rebounded by 2 rebounds. We actually had more offensive rebounds. They only had 1 more assists. Turnovers, we both had 18. We actually outscored them with points in the paint, 68-58. So, really, it was a really even game. Now, looking at certain facts or statistics, points all turnovers, 27 to our 18. So they capitalized on turnovers better than we did. They definitely took turnovers and it resulted in a score where our possessions often didn't. That hurt us. From a statistical standpoint, let's see. Obviously, Bradley Beal, 43 points. So you knew coming in, he was going to try to he was trying to prove something, man. He was definitely going to play hard against the Wizards, man. He had some feelings about the trade. He didn't want to be traded per sources. But ultimately, this front office got to the point where, look, with him as a number 1 option, we were just a playing team. So it was a much needed move, in my opinion. So it is what it is. But looking at our team now, yeah, they cooked us on perimeter wise, man. They cooked us on the perimeter. But I'm gonna say a little bit of effort, man. Because if you look at the starting 5, Tyus Jones, 14 points, 8 assists. His assist numbers were there. I felt he had moments. Jordan Poole, Lord have mercy, Jordan Poole. 4 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 3 from the field, or from 3. Very, very underwhelming. Just it is what it is with him, man. Koulibaly, offensively, he has slowed down a little bit. 0 points, shooting over 2 from the field. Active defensively, but no steals, no blocks. Denny, before we get into the turbo, Daniel Gafford, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks. So Gafford again showed, empty stats, man. I felt like he was pushed around a little bit. He was overmatched by Jokic, man. And again, most centers in this league, he's overmatched. And so I'm not going to elaborate. I've been giving him a lot of smoke. It is what it is. But we're keeping it 100, man. He often struggles against most centers in this league, and he did tonight. And here's the thing, man. Nurkic is not a defensive-minded center. He's a guy who's just not that. And you're looking at the trade, man, between him being flipped for Aiden. Aiden's a better defensive center, and Aiden's not even a good defensive center. So that says you a lot about who his matchup was. But Turbo E, I'm trying to say, Turbo had a really good game. He had some fire. I know him and Brad talked at the end, but look, I don't know if he was trying to prove something to Brad. What's going on, but he played tough. He put some effort in tonight. I feel like Denny had a really good night. 24 points, 10 for 13 for the field, 3 for 5, 3. He had a really good night. Now 5 turnovers, yeah, but offensively had a really good night. The second unit not won the game, but the second unit is who should really shine, in my opinion. Kispert, 15 points, shooting 6 for 13, 0 for 7 for 3. Not his best showing from the perimeter, but I feel he had a really good game. Amarui, now before we get into him, Shamit, 13 points, 6 for 10. So he's definitely boosting his trade value. But look, Amarui needs some minutes, whether it's in the next game or after the deadline. But they need to give my man Amarui some minutes, man, because he only played, we played 23 minutes, but 16 points, 10 rebounds. So he's got to get some minutes. I like what I saw from him. He definitely played some good ball. So, yeah, the positives were definitely, in my opinion, Denny and Emery. And the effort went there. It's just a lot going on. I get the significance. A lot of these guys were former teammates of him. It's just a lot to go with. But ultimately, it just came down. We couldn't stop them on the perimeter, in my opinion.
Yeah. You summed up the Bradley Beal era good. Was a really good number 2 guy to John Wall. Yeah. But when he was the number 1, didn't go anywhere. Even the time we made the play-in, it was really, Brad had a great year, but Russ was kind of like the leader, the vocal leader on the team. And, he had some good moments here, but, giving that no trade clause, giving him the keys to the city, basically giving him everything he asked for was just really unnecessary by the front office, and it really handicapped us. And then, how the whole trade went down where he forced his way to the Suns, and, we only got a bunch of seconds back, and we didn't really get much back for him at all because of the contract, and he dictated where he wanted to go. Of course, if he didn't have the no trade clause, we probably would have got more back, and we could have traded him to maybe Miami or to the Milwaukee Bucks and got something back better than what we got. But yeah, he's a darn good player. And he's just better suited as a number 2. He's a number 3 guy, so he's back to where he really should be with the Suns here. They were just forcing it too much, and the late game, dribbling the ball off his feet and stuff like that. So there's some good moments for Brad with John Wall and Gortat and Markieff and Ariza and Otto in some of those years, and then it's just kind of like the last couple of years were just like we're just ready to move on. And it just kept dragging out. But he's a good guy, great person. Did a lot for the city, did a lot for the kids in D.C. and the DMV. I think he's a good person from the outside looking in, of course. He did get a standing ovation. I see some of the comments are not happy about that. But, like I said, I've moved on from the situation. And, I would have cheered him. Of course, he's not going to get the reception that John Wall got last year. Like, when John Wall was like, "This is my city," he got a crazy ovation. Everybody was standing up. So he's not going to get that type of reception, but he did get a positive reception for the crowd, and he put up 43. He did bump Denny on the chest when he hit a 3, and he was kind of having some fun and showboating. He was talking trash to the Wizards fans on the side and stuff like that. He gave the face that he did in the famous meme. So like I said, there's some good memories. I like I said, I moved on. I don't have any more ill will to Brad. Like I said, I moved on, and it's just nothing but positive things for me for Brad. Like I said, I hate the way that it ended, but like I said, I moved on. And just to get back to the game, Gafford, man, like I said, I love Gaff, I really do. But Nurkic did whatever he felt like doing, man.
Yeah.
Like if Nurkic just wanted to sit in the paint and post up, Nurkic probably could have had 30 tonight. He played 25 minutes. He could have ended up with 30. He had 18 points, 8 assists, and 13 boards. He really could have had 20 points and 20 rebounds. Like he did whatever he felt like he did doing to Gafford. Gafford had a couple dunks, but still just defensively, like he didn't provide much resistance. I mean, it's been the same thing against any other big man. KD, Kevin Durant was kind of coasting tonight. Like I said, it was really the Bradley Beal game. I think that everybody knew that. Like Booker was cooking, but he kind of relaxed. He had 14. He had a chill night. He didn't, go for 30 or anything. Like everybody was like, okay. I think before the game, because Kevin Durant said something before the game, he was like, we're gonna make this about Brad in his the pregame, like in the shoot around yesterday. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna make this about Brad. We're gonna make sure Brad has a good night or whatever. And basically that's what Brad did. He went out and had 43, 6 assists. He had 20 like in the second quarter. Like it was something ridiculous, like 20 in the second quarter. And he only played 31 minutes. So he didn't even play in the last fourth quarter. I don't even think he played at all in the fourth quarter. He didn't really need to. But like I said, the only positive really is Danny played aggressively. He got to the basket. He dunked on Eubanks. That was a nice dunk. Got him for that. I was happy about that. Keefe got a tech, so I did like that. I like the energy from Brian Keefe, Coach Chief Keefe. Tyus had 8 assists. Gafford had 15, but still kind of got dominated out there. Poole, man, my goodness. We're going to get to Poole with the comments. A lot of people are giving Jordan Poole a hard time, so I'll leave. I won't even say anything into the comments. Eugene played well. And then I guess we'll leave the comments to Johnny. We'll talk about Johnny in the comments. So we'll get to the comments real quick.
Yeah, I mean,
from you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's just you hit the nail on the head as far as Brad, man. I mean, it's like I believe real quick before we move on, man. I believe he deserved cheers because in the area, in the Tri-State area, in the DMV, where you have probably with one of the richest area in the country, man. I mean, as much poverty as we have in this area, man. He did more than most. So I mean, that alone for him, what he did off the court is why I believe that. Look, he deserved cheers, man. Yeah, I get it. A lot of things he did, especially being the alpha dog, irked me. Smiling with Jason Statham and not taking things serious and all this stuff. I get all that, man. But my only smoke was him being the guy. No, him and DC, him and John Wall that was a nice backcourt. I mean, they brought us playoff. That's another thing. When people are kind of like, oh, why are you being negative? He didn't bring us a championship, so it's kind of like it's 50-50 with me, man. I get the significance off the court, but then the people that are saying that we should celebrate him, he didn't bring us a ring either, man. So it's one of those moments where we celebrate him for what he did, but it's time to move on. I'm not mad. It is what it is. He's now a former player. So, we're gonna go ahead and get into Johnny Davis, Lord have mercy, and a little bit of Jordan Poole. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. So happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because if you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch. Yes, sir. Grabbing your favorite football snacks and placing some super bets. So FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a dub or 2 or 3. Not only can you bet on who will win the Super Bowl outright at Super Bowl 58, But FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. And new customers join today, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. So all you got to do is just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. All right, let's slide.
And I remember this one article where actually he did an interview with Gilbert Arenas on the Joe Chill podcast, and he said the only reason why he came back was because there were no other teams in the market, and then of course the money side, like he knew he was going to re-sign because he knew he was going to get him being there 10 years, and then he got with $250 million deal. So that was one of the things that definitely turned fans off. I mean, there was a lot of things that he said in press conference. Every time he had an interview or something like that, he turned the fans off for sure. But like I said, I'm not going to harp on the negatives. I'll just, focus on, like you said, the first part where he was really good with John Wall. It's just those last probably 3 to 4 years when people were just, ready to rebuild and move on. But we'll get to Johnny here. In some of these comments, man, some people are saying Devin Booker said, "Oh heck no!" when he shot the ball. He did hit 1 3, he hit a step back 3, he went 1 for 7. I mean, one thing I'll say about Johnny is that me and Brandon, we both agree that it was a missed pick. It was a Tommy Shepard pick.
Yeah,
I do think Johnny coming out, I really thought he was a talented player coming out of Wisconsin. I love his motor. I love how hard he worked. The Purdue game, he had 37. I know it's just one game. It's the Big Ten. But I did think that Johnny had a chance to be a good player, if not just at least a rotational player. Because right now he doesn't even look like he can be a rotational player. Sometimes he doesn't even look like he can even be in the NBA. It's kind of looking like sometimes it's like Shanghai Sharks or G League. But I do want to see him get more opportunities because the team's going nowhere. But the shot is still inconsistent. It's looking a little bit better, but it's still inconsistent. And, I hate to see other teams making fun of him when he shoots the ball. Like the Magic did the same thing. So this is not the first time the other teams are like saying, "Oh, his shot is ugly" and stuff like that. It's nowhere near like a Michael Kidd-Gilchrist shot, but it's still a funky shot. But I mean, it's just I don't see it working out here. I think Will Dawkins and Travis Schlenk, winger, I think they feel the same way. They're like, okay, this is not our pick. But I mean, we'll see what happens after the trade deadline if he gets to play at all. But I think this year will most likely be his last year here in DC.
Y'all, it's it, man. I'm ready to go ahead and call it. I'm ready to call it, man. It's a mispick. You can point fingers at. I mean, it's really tough to ask. Where did it go wrong? To me, in my opinion, was, like you said, coming out of Wisconsin, he was a mid-range guy who could defend. When they try to change him into a point guard and make him shoot 3-point shots, he's not a 3-point shooter. He's just not. I mean, in the Big Ten at Wisconsin, he was a mid-range guy who can drive the lane, but he's a defensive guy. So when they try to change who he was as a player, I feel like they already messed him up a little bit. And then confidence. I mean, he's a young guy right now. His confidence is at 0. I mean, even if you take the approach and say, look, after the deadline, we moved on from some of these vets, we'll give you some minutes. But I don't think they want him here. Because the question was asked last night, Ron, to interim coach, or on Friday. What is the vision for you guys going forward with Johnny Davis? And I feel like the coach kind of gave them the same, response, which is, oh, we believe in him, so on and so forth. But 2 minutes, like I don't see the point of that. Like play a guy 2 minutes. I don't understand that. With the Miami game, 2 minutes, and his confidence is shot. So I think you flip him for another player in the G League, see if a change of scenery will help him. But I mean, is he going to want to play for us at this point? I mean, he hasn't got much of an opportunity. Now you can argue, if given an opportunity, you got to perform. But when they try to change him, I think that's where it went wrong. And that's my opinion. He's not a point guard. He's not a 3-point shooter. He's a guy who's a mid-range guy. And there's still people in this league now in the current NBA. And I get it is a perimeter-driven league, man. But you still got guys like DeRozan and guys that are still mid-range guys. So I still think he has a place in the modern NBA. But is it here in DC? I don't think so. And it's sad because he's a young guy. At the end of the day, he's a young man who first 2 years in the league are pretty much free years because he didn't play much. So I hope he finds a place somewhere. I hope he, definitely gets to extend his NBA career, but I don't think it's going to be here.
Yeah, no, I don't see it either. I don't see it. One thing after the game, Bradley Beal said tonight was awesome. He also says it was a lot of fun to see the growth of Denny and Gaff. After the game, he did talk to Denny a little bit. I did see that, and then I think he talked to Gaff for a little bit after the game. But yeah, we're gonna get into some of the comments about Johnny here. But Steven Planting says, I have season tickets for the Wizards. I attend every home game. I've never seen our fans give up on a player so quick. Jordan Poole was booed multiple times, and they were chanting F JP. Now, I don't like the language, but I get it, Steven. But, man, he was really bad tonight, man. And I hate to talk about, players on our own team. Like, if it was Dinwiddie, I didn't care. Dinwiddie was so awful. I didn't give a crap when I talked about Dinwiddie. But Jordan Poole, I don't think, because somebody in the comments is going to say that he's been worse than Dinwiddie. I disagree with that. Jordan Poole has been very inconsistent. Tonight was one of the worst games I've probably seen from a player just in general. Like, his body language was bad. It didn't look like he wanted to be there. He was getting pushed around, kind of flopping a little bit. He was picking up his dribble. Bol plucked him. Bol had a good game. We didn't even talk about Bol yet. Bol plucked him. They called Bol for a double dribble, and Bol plucked Jordan Poole and then did it behind the back on Jordan Poole. But yeah, he just looked like he didn't want to be there. And it's like, if you don't want to be here, then it's kind of like, why even play? So I think if they did make a change to the starting lineup, I think they would consider doing something like that. And the thing is, a lot of people are like, oh, Jordan Poole would be better as a point guard. He's been playing as a point guard. They tried him as a point guard. They tried him as a shooting guard. They tried him everywhere, and it's just been the same thing. It's just been a lot of inconsistency, bad defense, and shot selections. The Shaq to the Fool stuff is calmed down. I'll give him credit for that. But still, just like some nights it looks like he didn't. Tonight looked like a night where he didn't want to play, and I think this was a good opportunity for him to step up with Kuzma not playing, Bagley not playing, a couple guys out. This should have been a game where Jordan Poole put up 30 points, and honestly, he went up there and put up 4. So this was disappointing to me, honestly.
I mean, a few things in my opinion. Number one, look, I'm gonna say this, man. He's a young player, man, who proves he can play in the league. He has in his prime. I think he's still he's a good player. I mean, obviously, he's still acclimating to being in DC, being a rebuilding team, coming over from Golden State, which were their perennial contenders, except for this year, but contenders for a championship. And so it's a culture shock. But it behooves him to get it together, because if you look at all the names that people are asking about, Jordan Poole ain't one of them. And if he doesn't want to be here, it behooves him to get his value up. And then look, if you want to go somewhere else, go. Yeah, it's very disconcerting for him to just have this attitude where I don't care. What? No, you make millions of dollars, play basketball. You need to care. Like, you need to show up. So yeah, I mean, he's not doing himself any favors at all, because teams see this. And there's a reason why teams aren't calling for him right now. Who wants to pay $25+ million for a guy who can't even give you any kind of effort, night in and night out? And that's it. It is what it is. So yeah, Jordan Poole, man, we'll see. I think that honestly, he needs to go be 6-man. He needs to go on the bench. He needs to go ahead and run the second unit. I think that I've seen enough that he's not a starter. Go ahead and put Balow in the 2 guard, in my opinion. Because I definitely want to see him at the 2 guard, Denny at the 3. And another thing tonight, look, Denny played at the 4 and he looked pretty good. I'm just saying, he played at the 4 with Goose being out, and he looked pretty good. So, and if you look at the way that Kisper's been playing after the deadline, I honestly don't have a problem with Kisper at the 2, Balow at the 3, and Denny at the 4. I have no problem with that. And you'll go ahead and see what they can do together as a little core going in the second half. Because Jordan Poole, I think he's a 6-man. Because, yeah, I mean, get it. We were all intrigued to see what he can do with the ball in his hand being a point guard. And, yeah, 10 assists, I get it, but that's one time, man. I mean, he turnovers, the low percentage shooting, the not taking things serious. It's just he needs to get benched. He needs to be a 6-man, in my opinion. Go ahead and get the young guys starting minutes, especially after the deadline, because I've seen enough. I still believe in Jordan Poole. He's on my team. I'm gonna give him all the support I can, man. But I think the league, he's been exposed. He was protected by the entourage in Golden State. They protected him with all his shenanigans and all his low percentage shots. He was doing the same thing in Golden State. The only difference is he had all-stars and future Hall of Famers that are shielding him and picked up the slack for him. Now that he's up front and in the cameras more as being, kind of a co-captain with Kyle Kuzma, man, you see the shenanigans more up close and personal. And it shows he's not a starter, in my opinion. He needs to be a sixth man. And then, if you look at a championship team, what was he? Now, he came in and he started in place of Stephen Curry, but his part of the DNA of the Golden State Warriors was six man. So I think that going forward, to showcase what he can do as far as building up trade value for him, put him as a six man. And then teams will probably give him a look down the road as a six man, and he can boost his own value, and we can try to get value from him and flip him. But I don't think he's a long-term piece because he's already shown that he's going to be here. He doesn't care, and he has his attitude. He has moments of being a leader, but most of the time, is he really leading by example? So he's a young man. I'm trying to be, trying to find good things to say. You know what I mean? Because he's proven that he can play, but if you're not going to take things serious, then you're not part of the foundation, which right now, what is part of the foundation? Culture. You don't want to be here if you ain't going to play hard, then I don't want you here, man. And that's straight up.
Right. Yeah. Stephen Planton also said, we are in section 112 today. Brandon and Ed, are you guys here? Got some Wiz fans here all agreeing that we'd rather watch Dinwiddie. See, that's why I can't do it. I can't watch.
Oh, that's asking a lot.
Dinwiddie's been awful this year, too, with the Nets. But he said Poole might be worse between the two. I wouldn't take that far. I'm sorry, I can't go that far. But Poole was awful tonight. He was hard to watch. He was as bad as Dinwiddie today. Dinwiddie would dribble the ball, would barely get past his man, and throw up a grenade at the free throw line. He would shoot a floater. He would literally shoot a floater at the free throw line. Then he would throw a grenade pass to Kuzma at the last second, and Kuzma would have to shoot a last second three, and it would go off the backboard. But it's the only reason why is because Dinwiddie set him up. Because Dinwiddie would dribble for 23 seconds on the shot clock and then pass it off to somebody else. So Jordan Poole at least doesn't do that. I'll give him credit for that. And Dinwiddie could barely move at all. So no, I can't go as far as saying Poole was bad. Poole was awful tonight. He was. When you let Bull, and like I said, no disrespect to Bull, when Bull plucks you like that, it hits it behind the back on you. I mean, that's kind of, I'm not gonna say rock bottom, but it was close to it. It was bad. And Jordan Poole kept picking up his dribble. It looked like he didn't want to shoot. It was hard. Like I said, like you said, Brandon, he's so talented. Like, he's a good player. He's a good basketball player. But I don't know. I think he will be one of those guys when he gets traded. He probably will go crazy with a different team. That just always happens to the Wizards. But Steven, no, we were not there tonight. But Brandon was there against the Heat, though. He was, and he got to talk to. You got to talk to Brian Keefe, right? You got to talk to Denny.
Oh, yeah.
You got to talk to all the guys. So Brandon gave us the insight. And he went to the shoot around. You went to the shoot around as well. So you got to talk to the guys too. So we got to talk about that too. What the answers that you got from the guys? I guess we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely, man. Getting back to the comment about Dinwiddie and Poole, that's a hard comment, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dinwiddie out there looking like Coffee Black from Semi-Pro. So yeah, that's but Jordan Poole, man. I mean, he gives off the persona of somebody that doesn't want to be here, and I get it, man. You go from a championship team to a rebuilding team, but if you're gonna act like that, man, because look, what this team needs right now is a culture change. You play hard. Playing hard every play. If you're gonna take plays off, man, then I don't want you on this team. To be honest with you, try to boost your own value, and we'll accommodate you. That's why I'm at with Jordan Poole, because he's a young man he's proven he can play, but I'm trying to rebuild a team here, man. And if you're going to continue to have this whole Hollywood, looking at baddies, all that, look, man, baddies ain't going to come holler at you when you airballing the ball. I mean, just play. Help us boost your value. Help us help you, Jordan. Help us help you. And then we'll accommodate you. But, yeah, I don't want that anywhere near this team, man. If you're not going to play 100% every play, then I don't want you around these young guys because we're trying to build this culture here. And that's just, to me, that's sending the wrong message. Not only to these young guys, to the front office. And you best believe they see that, man. And then, so we'll see.
Definitely. All right. Let's see here. Deshaun says, Johnny Davis finally got minutes and played very poorly. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker were making fun of his shot. It is what it is with him now. Yeah. And we talked about that. This is not the first time that teams on the bench, other teams, have made fun of his shot. The Magic did it. It was Joe Ingles and a couple guys on the bench. And Johnny shot the ball over the basket, hit the backboard. Now, this time he missed the shot, but he went 1 for 7. All I say is I think he should play more. I know he's kind of a pick that it's just not going to work out, but I think they should just let him play. They're not going anywhere, and the trade deadline's coming up. So just let the young guys play. Pat Baldwin, Jules Bernard came in and hit a 3. Eugene deserves more minutes. But, yeah, I mean, Jules Bernard looks a little bit more confident than Johnny at this point, which is unfortunate. And Eugene is playing well. He deserves a lot of minutes, man. He deserves at least 20 minutes. He got 23 tonight. But yeah, I would just let Johnny play just to see what you can get for the rest of the season. You're not going. I don't think they're going to bring him back, but at least let the young man play and just at least see what he can do a little bit. But yeah, the shot that you can't get better playing 2 minutes a game. I'll say that. I don't care who you are. You can't get better playing 2 to 5 minutes a game. Even if the front office doesn't believe he can amount to anything, I would at least give him a chance. Give him at least 15 minutes or something like that. Like I said, especially with the team where it is right now, we're not going anywhere. I think they're finally, of course, with the trade deadline, they're finally going to consolidate the roster and move guys. If he's going to be here after the trade deadline, I would at least give him 15 to 20 minutes. Just let the guy play.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you can't develop playing 2 minutes a game. And it is what it is. You cannot develop playing 2 minutes a game, man. I mean, it's like pinch hitting in baseball. I mean, hitting once every few offs is not going to do anything for you, man. I think the bigger issue I have is this, man. You got people laughing at this dude. Like, that's what it comes down to culture, man. I mean, I think the first change that needed to be made was making Brian Keith the interim coach and putting Wes Unseld Jr. in the front office. That was a necessary move that I think needed to be made. But you know what? Culture, man. I mean, you have people over there laughing at him, man. Nah, man, not this guy. Nah, I would have went over there and said something. We would got a little physical, man. And the next time somebody rolling through the lane, they're getting checked. Because I mean, come on, that's your teammate, man. This is your young dude who he struggled. Like his confidence, man, is shot. And then you just got made fun of on national TV because this was a nationally televised game. Nah, it ain't happened, man. Not on my watch, man. I mean, somebody getting checked going through the lane, man. Because
run our test.
Oh, absolutely, man. Because you don't let that happen if you're a teammate, man. Somebody should have stepped up and said something, man. That's embarrassing, man. So yeah, you know what? Just because of that, and because the culture needs to be changed, he needs to go somewhere else, man, so he can be developed, man. Because 2 minutes is just not going to do it. And in my opinion, he's not. For them trying to change his shot and change who he is as a player, they have not given him the opportunity to really be who he is at Wisconsin, which is a mid-range scorer who can defend. So it's sad, man, because we missed on that pick, but it's sad to see a young man just 2 years of his career, just nothing. You know what I mean? He's just here. So it's sad. It really is.
Yeah. Can he at least give you some Josh Hart kind of minutes? Like, he can rebound, he can defend, he can get steals, deflections, at least, go out there and play like similar to Josh Hart. I think that's what Johnny Davis can do. Now we'll do rapid reading here. Thank you guys for being in the chat. About 90 people in the chat. Balow did have 0 points tonight. We didn't talk about him much. He kind of has hit that rookie wall a little bit where he's just been up and down. Like tonight, he didn't even do other things. At least if he doesn't score, he usually rebounds. He only had 1 rebound, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks. So that's not like him. The scoring, of course, I'm concerned, but the other things is what I was really concerned. What I was concerned about today. Just no blocks, no steals, no assists, only 1 rebound. He usually at least, like I said, if he's not going to score, he'll do other things. Tonight he didn't do much in any category, so that's the concerning thing about Balow tonight. Now offensively, you're just gonna have up and down games. Like somebody asked, where is he versus Cam Whitmore? Of course, like Cam Whitmore there's no point even talking about that right now because it is what it is on that. Cam Whitmore, he's just more athletically developed. Cam Whitmore looks like a linebacker / running back out there, and Balow still has a lot of maturing to do body wise. Cam Whitmore is just more advanced. All I'll say about Cam is just that he's doing a great job right now. I'm happy for him, and a lot of teams passed up on him. He shouldn't have fell that far. That was just ridiculous how he fell. But getting back to Balow, I want to see him. If he's not going to score, at least go out there and rebound, get some deflections, and do other things.
I'm actually not concerned, man. I mean, because I see a few people in here calling him a bust. I mean, come on now, really? He's first year. Like he's already shown he's way better than the last pick we got, man. I mean, it's nothing against Johnny. I'm gonna say off Johnny, man. I mean, it's just very unfortunate, but I mean, he's not a bust, man. We knew coming in this year that he was gonna be very, very raw offensively, and he is. It shows that. He's just shown where he's at. I mean, he played in a league which is a whole different pace than the NBA. I mean, look, Denny struggled, man. Look, he had to develop. And is his offensive game where you want it to be? Not yet. So those are two guys that are very similar because they came from other leagues where there's just a different speed than the NBA, and it's okay. It just takes time to acclimate. So I'm not concerned about Balow, man. I think he's gonna be all right. It's just he's got to keep working at that offensive game, man. But you're gonna see that with guys that are very raw. You're gonna see your performances that are good, but overall he's gonna struggle. So I'm not concerned. I'm not. He just has to be developed. So
yeah, Vlogger, shout out to her. We'll probably read one more and that's it. And then the rest of them we are gonna read them tomorrow for sure. Vlogger says this season has been the hardest to watch. Yes, it has been. Shout out to Vlogger. Vlogger has been a loyal listener and a person that watches all the time for sure. So shout out to Vlogger. Let's see here. There was another one that where is Onion 77? He had a bunch of comments. He said, and it'd be what an embarrassing effort. These sorry bum mother lovers just let them score on them like the Suns was playing a high school team. That stuff was pathetic. What worse is listening to Chris and Drew. We're not going to comment too much about that. We are credential media members. He also says, also watching Johnny Davis like pulling teeth in all caps. Him and Jordan Poole, throw up emoji. Then he says, plus Ted Leon says, tell all the Wizards people Jason Smith, Megan McPeak, and that other goofy post game got to lie about the team on the way they play, or they will get fired like the young black guy. Won't comment too much about that. But yeah, I mean, all the stuff he said, some of the stuff he said definitely has some truth to it as well about Johnny Davis and Jordan Poole right now. I mean, they're just struggling. The whole team's struggling. And, they got blown out tonight. They lost by 28. They were down by 31 point at home. But once again, a lot of guys missing. No Kuz, no Bagley. I'm not going to say if they would have won if they had those guys, but it would have been more competitive. I'd say they'd probably lose by like 10 or 15 if they had those guys.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment about half of that, man. I mean,
right.
They got, look, working for Monument Sports, man, it's tough. You can't. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, getting back, Jordan Poole, it's tough, man. Because a lot of people were high on him coming over here, and he just has not performed the way we thought he was going to. I knew a lot of people thought he was going to be a 20+ a game scorer, man, and he just hasn't. So we'll see. I think that he's best served as a 6-man, and I think that's the capacity. They need to go ahead and give him the second unit, give him autonomy on the second unit, let him do his thing, and we'll see. But yeah, to me, he's a 6-man. Oh Lord, so this is was it 50% pain. Says every locked on Wizards title, the Wizards lose to insert team here, play on other team scores 40+. I mean, that's the MO this year, man.
50% pain says my comments are the best, but do I get a shout out? And Brandon, what did I do to you guys? No, we haven't. Yeah, shout out to you for commenting all the time, man. Yeah, we appreciate that for sure. We appreciate anybody who comes in and comments all the time. So, but yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here, and tomorrow we're definitely gonna talk about the offer from the Timberwolves, where they offered 4 second-round picks for Tyus Jones, and we're talking about some teams that are interested in Kyle Kuzma. So we just want to thank you guys for commenting and listening. We had a long show tonight, 48 minutes. I know you guys have been asking for a long show for a long time. So we definitely did that for you guys. But make sure you guys subscribe and all that. We're going to read the rest of the comments tomorrow night and then talk about some of the trade reports. Thank you guys for listening. Hell to the Wizards. Peace.